Hi. Today I want to spend just a few minutes talking about how we get through this mishmash, difficult world we find ourselves in. So much distrust, so much violence. Um, so when the world appears and feels like it's just a negative, hurtful, and messy, continuous bunch of events, it can get us down. And do you have moments when the world around us appears to be this kind of mess? Um, and the moments when your empathetic sensitivity to the struggles of others can set off into you your defense mechanisms, avoidance, anger, fearful, powerlessness, and a bunch of other ugly feelings, what do you do? And I guess I'm just suggesting today that we think about ways that we do move forward because we all have good ways of doing that. And um, when you feel the energy of your life contracting rather than expanding, what do? Sometimes it's just a moment. Sometimes we feel this way for a day or a week or a month. And while we're in the midst of it, it feels like it goes on forever. So when you find yourself in that place where you're experiencing the world and pushed into this defensive kind of yuck that you don't like, what do? Well, you know, I'm going to always say you start by tapping because you want to bring the level of distress down to a more manageable place, and then you can think and you can choose and you can take action to feel better. But beyond that, there's a couple other things I do that help me get through. And one of those things is I go back to one of my guiding principles. And I'm sorry, let's, so a guiding principle that helps me as I strive to help others and helps me get through is I always strive to leave other people better than I found them, situations better than when I found them. And when I engage with others at work or at home, I know how they feel, or I think I know how they feel because I am very intuitive, I am very empathetic, and so I know what's going on. But one of the things that I find is most helpful is to just ask them how they're doing. So what this looks like in my office, in my clinical setting, is I start sessions with questions like, how are you today and how may I help you? And then I do what I can, just like you do what you can. And we all have different sets of skills and energy and resources that we bring to others. But so then I do what I do as a therapist, as a tapper, as a caring human being. And then at the end of the session, I always ask, what are you taking away from this session? What are you going to hold on to about what we just spent time doing? And hopefully their responses have something to do with the questions that I asked in the beginning, that they're taking away something that's going to help them be better in the moment, or it's going to help them with the problem they came to me with. And I just hope that they're leaving better than they were when they came in. Have I left that person better than when I found them, when I engaged with them? So this is a standard I use for myself, and the nice thing about it is at the end of the day, having an affirmative answer to that question of did I leave people better than I found them, settles me right down, and to a point where I can relax and sleep and be at ease. Now, my question may be different than your question, but if we are honest, we are always judging, reflecting, and evaluating ourselves in some way. And that's a normal thing to do. And that is going to affect how we respond to ourselves. So so if for some reason the answer to the question isn't a yes in terms of have I left them better than I found them, um, then it's a struggle for me. But I found that if I can try in a loving way to say to myself and ask the question about what you've learned today from this experience, then you've made yourself better than you found yourself at the beginning of the morning. And I have to take comfort in that because that's what I have. And tap if my heart and soul are not buying the rationale that I'm giving it, but to deal with those feelings of knowing that we always have to do that, especially because we do live in a pretty messy world right now. This is a bit about how I cope. And when you're feeling the world is a negative, messy bunch of relentless events, what do you do? What are the questions you start with and end with in an interaction? Besides tapping, what do you do to get a good night's sleep? I hope you'll share some of your thoughts. And notice right now, in this moment, what you're feeling as I talk about evaluating myself and also looking at the world around me. What are you feeling? Now, again, if there's some upset here, you can always use tapping to help you bring that down before you write some replies, or let me know how you do this, because I'd love to hear how you manage this messy world. Just always remember, you're not alone, and there is more to do. So the website has the tapping. If that doesn't work for you, don't get too worried about it. That can happen if the standard tapping is not working. There is more to do, and TFT has a complete set of techniques and protocols that will help. So if you need some help with your tapping, you can always reach out to me because there's a whole set of things to still be done. So this is just some brief thoughts about how we are going to move forward, and how we always remember to stay true to ourselves and to leave the world better than we found it. Anyway, I'm interested in any responses you have from me, and I will be talking to you again. Bye-bye.